In the early morning of September 29th, 1982, Chicago was waking to the routine rhythm of everyday life. Children were getting ready for school. Adults were sipping coffee and reaching for the pain relievers in their medicine cabinets. Among them was 12-year-old Mary Kellerman. Like millions of Americans that day, she took a single capsule of extra-strength Tylenol as she was suffering minor symptoms of a sore throat and runny nose. Within hours, her parents would discover she was dead. At first, it seemed inexplicable, a tragic, isolated accident, but Mary would not be the last. By the end of the day, the Janus family, Adam, Stanley, and Teresa, would all be found dead after taking capsules from the same bottle. A single household, extinguished by a common familiar object, the quiet streets of suburban Chicago suddenly became a landscape of terror. Authorities quickly discovered the cause: cyanide-laced Tylenol capsules. Potassium cyanide, a substance so lethal that even a few grains could kill. The capsules, purchased in ordinary stores, had been deliberately poisoned. The investigation revealed a chilling reality. The tampering occurred after the products left the factory. Someone had removed bottles from shelves, introduced cyanide, and returned them. The city's trust, its faith in ordinary, everyday objects, had been violated in the most intimate way. As the bodies mounted, panic spread. People stopped reaching for their medicine cabinets. Parents scoured their homes. What had once been a sanctuary, a place of comfort, became a source of fear. One investigator later said each capsule contained the equivalent of 10,000 milligrams of cyanide. It was enough to kill thousands if taken all at once. The victims were ordinary people, the kind of people you might pass on the street without notice. Mary Kellerman, a 12-year-old girl, taken in a matter of hours. Adam Janus, 27, whose day began with chest pain and ended in a violent, silent death. His siblings-in-law, Stanley and Teresa Janus, both young, innocent, and gone within hours. Mary Rayner, a mother of 4, whose trust in her medicine cost her life. Paula Prince, a United flight attendant whose death sent ripples across the city. Mary McFarland, a telephone company worker, another ordinary life erased. Each death was abrupt, silent, and shocking. All were linked by one horrifying thread: a simple, trusted over-the-counter medication. Stores pulled shelves bare. Johnson & Johnson, the maker of Tylenol, initiated an unprecedented recall. 31 million bottles of capsules removed from circulation. Millions of dollars in revenue vanished in a matter of days. But it wasn't the money that haunted people. It was the idea that something as mundane as medicine could be turned into a weapon of death. The public was desperate for answers, but the trail was nearly invisible. No fingerprints, no eyewitnesses, just capsules. Silent, deadly, and ordinary. The killer had weaponized normalcy itself. Enter James W. Lewis, a man from New York with a criminal record and a history of fraud. He sent a letter to Johnson & Johnson demanding $1 million to stop the murders. The letter suggested intimate knowledge of the cyanide tampering, enough to make authorities take him seriously. Lewis was arrested and convicted of extortion, receiving a 12-year sentence. But crucially, he was never charged with murder. Despite intense scrutiny, investigators could place him nowhere near the stores where the poisonings occurred. He claimed innocence until his death in 2023. The murders to this day remain unsolved. The Tylenol murders did more than kill 7 people. They shattered the illusion of safety. Americans could no longer trust that medicine taken from the pharmacy was harmless. Ordinary bottles became symbols of danger. Every capsule, every lid, every seal became suspect. Time magazine wrote, "Suddenly, one of the small bonds of unconscious trust that hold society together had snapped. It wasn't just medicine, it was trust itself. And when trust dies, fear takes root." Over the decades, the case has been revisited repeatedly. Forensic advancements allowed investigators to re-examine evidence, to test bottles and fingerprints, to probe Lewis's home, but no definitive link was ever established. Specialists and criminologists agree on one terrifying fact: the killer walked free. The city he left behind never forgot the invisible hand that struck without warning. In many ways, this is the perfect crime, said Yotam Gwendelman, co-director of the 2025 Netflix documentary Cyanide is Virtually Untraceable. The Tylenol murders transformed America's approach to consumer safety. Congress passed the Federal Anti-Tampering Act, mandating seals and safety features on over-the-counter medicines. Johnson & Johnson's crisis response became a case study in corporate ethics. Every pharmacy shelf, every medicine cabinet, every capsule now carries the legacy of that September. Packaging changes, warnings, and laws were born of the fear that had once spread faster than the poison itself. What makes the Tylenol murders enduringly chilling is not just the deaths themselves, it's the ordinary turned lethal, the trust betrayed, the invisible danger. Every consumer learned a lesson the hard way. Safety is never guaranteed, even in the most familiar forms. The case still serves as a reminder that ordinary people can be victims of extraordinary malice. The killer was never caught, the wounds are long-lasting, and the story remains a dark chapter in American life. The Tylenol murders are a story of silence, of ordinary objects turned weapons, and of a city that learned the fragility of trust. 7 lives were extinguished, fear spread like wildfire, and 1 person, or possibly more, remains unknown. In the shadows of everyday life, some dangers are invisible, some crimes go unresolved, and some stories are so chilling, they linger long after the final page is closed. The Tylenol murders remind us that sometimes things aren't as they appear.